Hey everybody, Aaron here from the Cool Guys Nation, and welcome to Immersive Room Building Episode 2. So the first thing that we need to do now that we know kind of the layout of the space and we have our walls up, we need to decide on the theme and figure out how we're going to build all that stuff. So I've already done a bunch of work in Photoshop, come up with a whole bunch of ideas, and I'm going to share with you right now my thought process for doing that. So in front of us I have a whole bunch of files that we're going to open. The first thing that I did was I want to do the GW church theme. So I looked up some photos of it, and here's one of them. And what I thought would be really cool is to have some sort of background that you can see through the building. So I wanted to put a picture up on the wall. So I did a little bit of research online. There's a bunch of companies that provide essentially what is wallpaper or stickers that you can put on your wall that have really cool themes. The theme that I wound up going with is this. So the walls are going to be this image 3 times, and when you look through the window you'll be able to see this picture. And then I also wanted to put sort of like a roller. So this one will be on the wall, and I wanted to put a roller above it that is like a solid window curtain that you can just pull down, and it'll have a second image on it so that we can, change the look. So this is some of the stuff that I was looking at. We got some nature and some trees. We got some space themes. We got all sorts of fun stuff. So the next thing I need to do is a mock-up of the room and kind of get a feel for how it's going to be built. Alright, so let's open up one of our mock-ups. So this is the final version of the mock-up. As you can see, I have the GW panels. I put in a gaming table, I added the lights, and it's relatively the same scale as the room, although it's not exactly. This is just to help me get a feel for how the game room is going to look. The floor is actually not going to be wood. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to go through the process of how I built this. So the first thing, obviously, I wonder where that table is. Come here, table. Oh, there it is. Boom. So, starting with a blank canvas. Next thing is I Googled a room, just a generic room. It kind of gives me my proportions and my layout. And the next thing that I need to do is sort of create my walls. So in order to do that, I needed to put my images up on the walls. So here's our base image. I put it on the wall, and then I want to add my left wall, so we're going to take those off. We're going to add this, and doing this is very simple, so I'll just show you how this is done really quickly. I have my background image. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate the layer. Okay, now I'm going to move that over here, and I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to go to Apple T, I'm going to right click, and I'm going to go perspective, and then I can just get the perspective so that it matches the wall, and hit enter. Done. There you go. We don't actually need that one. So now we have our sort of like pictures placed on the wall, and the next thing is how are we going to sort of get a visualization for the church that's going to go in front of it. Now these are not to the exact scale that I'm actually going to build them on. I'll talk about how I figured out I'm going to scale. This is just a representation. So we have the Aquila in the middle, and we have some windows on the side, and you can see about how much of the image you're going to see. I know how tall this is, I know how wide it is, so when I go and start making my calculations for how to cut it, that is another process. But let's just talk about how I mock this up really quick. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to retract that image and retract that image. So what I did is I went to gamesworkshop.com, and I found the sprue picture, and then I'm simply going to use this sprue picture to put it exactly into my design. Now the first thing you need to do on Photoshop, if you're not familiar, is you need to copy your background and get rid of it. That first image is always locked. Next thing I like to do is create a new layer, and I call this background. I drag that below, and now have a background image. We're going to go ahead and work on this. So what I want to do is I just want to cut out the only part that I want, and I actually don't want this seam area where the two things cross over. I just want that. So I use my select tool, then I hit uh, Shift Control I, and what that is going to do is it's going to select everything that I didn't scan, and then I can hit delete. Then I can unselect that. Now we have our image, but we still need to cut out all of the stuff inside, and for that we're going to use our eraser tool. I'm going to click right there. I'm going to go up here and hold Shift, and it's just going to click right around, and then I'm going to hand cut out the rest of this, just going around. Alternatively, you could also use your select tool, and you could just select this area, like so, and hit delete. Hit delete, and just keep getting all of that stuff out. There's another way to do it. So I needed to get rid of those sprue holes. Everything over here is just white, so we can use our magic tool. We want to make sure that it is not contiguous. We have our tolerance of 10. We're going to hit that. We're just going to delete all the rest of that white out. So now we have our image. We're going to pop this out, move this over here. We're going to go back to there. We're going to grab our background copy, and we're just going to drag it right onto our other image, put this back in the top, and go over here. Now obviously it's too small, right? So Control T for scale, bring it up, hit enter. And now we just need to fill out however many more we need. So we will duplicate this and move it over, and we will duplicate again and move it over. And it looks like we need to duplicate it a few more times. One more. And from here you can change the scaling, but you get a pretty good idea. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now what's really cool is you can take all of these images and you can merge them down. So what we're going to do is we're going to go here and we're going to merge down. There, of course, is a hotkey for it. Merge down, merge down, merge down. And now we're going to copy this whole file. Now I do strongly recommend that you rename all of your things. So we're going to do full windows back wall. All right, we're going to duplicate it. We're going to click OK. And now we're going to do full windows left wall. And we're going to need to zoom out for this because we're going to do the same thing that we did with the picture. Just going to move this over here. We're going to hit Control T. If you don't want to do that, you want to transform it. So I always use hotkeys. I have no idea where transform is. Up here, image, trim, tone, adjustments. I have no idea where transform is without the hotkey. Control T, Apple I on the other one. We don't want to scale it, so we're going to hit Escape. We're going to right click. We're going to go to Perspective because that's what we're changing. And we're just going to try to follow this line here. Click the edge. Follow it up. And then if we go to our left wall and we input our background, we just want to make sure this is on top of it. And there you go. That's how you build the walls. So the layout I'm pretty happy with. Let's go ahead and take a look at the full layout really quickly. Using the photos and the design that I have already done. So now we need left wall, we need this, and then we need to go back and close our buckets, put our table back in, put our floor back in, and there you go. That is the potential design for the Immersive Gaming Studio mocked up in Photoshop. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Next time, we're going to be taking a look at how I actually figured out the way I'm going to be cutting and building these on styrofoam. I'm making a mock-up. I'm going to talk about how I set all this up. So we'll be looking at that in a little bit. So until next time, this has been Aaron from the Cool Guys Nation.